Two of the major burdens that I had were drugs and legal issues and relationships with my family.
All of my burdens stemmed from my inability to have relationships.
Biggest burden was my drug addiction of 45 years.
My burden was broken relationships with my children, my family. The burden of my mom's death, thinking it was my fault. A lot of self-hate. I went through a long period of being suicidal.
I didn't know how to be a functioning person in society. I didn't know how to hold down a job. I didn't know how to keep a good friend. My relationships with my family started withering away. I didn't know what stability was.
I was paroled from San Quentin after my third prison term. I had nowhere else to go, and I was led to the mission. I actually had convinced myself that it was okay to live the way that I was, homeless. Everything that I did and said and lived was to feed my addiction. Can you imagine being at a dumpster at 1:30 in the morning, okay? It's pouring down rain, and you're trying to find something that you can trade for some drugs, and you're saying that that's okay?
I was down so far, I had to look up to see the bottom. It got to a point where I couldn't do it anymore. The burdens were too heavy, and I was gonna die, and I didn't want to die. I didn't know what I wanted, but I knew that I didn't want to continue to live the way I was living.
I had become so used to it that I didn't, and so strong carrying these burdens that I didn't even know that I had them anymore. A lot of my thoughts were, what do I want to get from life? And in reality, it was to be content.
I realized that I had a part in each and everything that had happened, that I was holding on to all these resentments. And talking to my sponsor and doing counseling with Becky, I realized that the person that I had to forgive was myself most of all.
One of the volunteers, Linda Vance, had started talking about the roles that a mother and a father play in a household. And my first class, I remember walking out of that class in tears because I didn't feel like I was that person to my children. And the first thing she did was she came out of that class and she hugged me.
There was a man at the mission, his name was Dave Draper. He was a retired minister. He did a couple of classes there, and he also brought men to church on Sunday. The way that he spoke to me made me feel that I could be honest and open with him as well. The things that he brought to my life are still there.
I heard Dana's testimony at Celebrate Recovery, and I realized that there are people like me, and I was just so drawn to her because I realized that we had so much in common.
One of the volunteers telling me, just baby steps, you'll get there. One day you're gonna be able to be that mother to your children. And every step of the way, like, she encouraged me and told me I was doing everything I could, that not one thing that through this journey was I doing wrong towards becoming that mother that my son deserved.
With all these people who were around me, who had become my friends, that they loved me for me and nothing else, my load kept getting lighter and lighter, and it was easier to carry.
Jesus says, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." It sums up what I got from the mission. I brought burdens that I didn't even know that I had, and I laid them there at the mission, and they helped me to walk away from those burdens.
I was able to go back and make amends to my wife. My sponsor had me go make amends to her because she was the last person I really needed to make amends to, and I kept putting it off. My sponsor rode over to Vallejo with me and walked through it with me. She was in hospice. She says, "I understand you was in your addiction, and but it's okay." She said it was okay. And about 2 weeks later, she passed away. I don't know what I would have did if she would have passed away and I didn't go over there and make amends to her.
It felt amazing to have people who really cared about me and they wanted to see me do good. As time went on and people started helping me, my load became lighter and lighter, and now I feel like I can reach the stars.
I'd never thought I'd be employed after my felonies. You know, I had nothing I could put down as something that was worth anything to an employer. I remember turning in 72 applications in Santa Rosa hoping to restart and stay here after Manahome, and not getting one call back One of the volunteers, Linda, called me early in the morning and said, you know, I think you would be a great asset to our family's business, and we would like to give you a chance if you're willing and you're ready. And you know, that was 5 years ago, and I've been employed with that family since. Hearing from somebody that I had gained in this journey, telling me that, you know, we trust you, you're employable, you're going to be an asset to our business. It's an amazing feeling. It's like being forgiven for so much that I dragged with me for so long. When we traveled that journey together, that was something that was so freeing. You're valuable, you're worth something.
Never thought I would be at the place I am. I never thought I would be working at a rescue mission. I never thought I'd be working in recovery. I never thought I would be going back to church. I never thought I would be helping others. There is a solution. There is a way out.
I feel great. I feel like a weight has been lifted. I have so many friends and I've built so many relationships. I can now be that example to other people. I'm now helping other women overcome work obstacles. I am teaching them job skills. I am teaching them to be sufficient, reliable, and to show them that God is real, that He does change your life if you let Him.
Going into Manna Home and being a sponsor to the women in early recovery there gives me a chance to help them see their value and see that no matter what darkness they traveled, that they're worth every step to becoming a new person, to being a mother, to forgiving themselves.
I go to like 3 meetings a week, and I love taking people to different meetings and introducing them to people that I know in my circle.
I go to the mission a couple times a week and I talk to guys. To have these guys come to me with a desire to talk about things that are going on in their lives and how things are at the mission, and for me to be able to relate my experience with that makes me feel like I do help people proceed and succeed in the mission. My dad came up to me and he said, "Stephen, you turned out all right." You know, and it was as simple as that. He told me that I turned out all right, and it made me so happy about myself.
My definition's always been to myself is that I hold the mirror till they see their own beauty. And in return, they're gonna turn and hold the mirror for somebody else. It's a reflection of being free and being forgiven.
You never know who's going to save your life.